What's up, everybody? So welcome to my review of the 2016 Players Pack discs from the MVP Circuit event. I played the circuit today out at Timber Park in Estacada. Total blast. Everybody had a great time, myself included. Super fun. It was 2 rounds. The first round we only used these 3 discs and it was doubles, and then the next round we could use any MVP or Axiom stuff and it was singles. I probably shot better overall second round, but I basically played par golf throughout. I got into trouble a couple of times, but yeah, I had a great time. It was a lot of fun, but I played pretty solid. I felt pretty decent about that, but enough about me. Let's talk about these discs. I wanted to post this video, give you guys a little bit of a look and just kind of my impressions on these 3 discs real quick, just in case you're interested in signing up for a circuit and you want to know what to expect. Maybe you already signed up and you kind of are looking for some information on these, or if you're looking to purchase one on the used market. Even if you guys don't have a circuit in your area, there's a lot of folks selling these. In fact, I'm selling the mid-range right now. I'm keeping the driver. The putter's already sold. That's why I'm posting this review now. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright, the putter is the Spin. It is an Electron plastic. It is probably Electron medium, I believe. It's not super soft, but it does have some give under it, as you can see there. Overall, the feel is fantastic. Very grippy, very kind of rubbery grip to it that I think feels great for sure. It's even if it had a little moisture on it, shouldn't be any problems. I like the Electron blend for the most part. It's got a good feel to it. This one should break in much quicker than like Proton or Neutron, stuff like that. Let's take a look at the rim profile on this guy. So you can see it's got a relatively unique rim profile, I think, where the parting line there on this outer edge here is kind of low on the disc, and to my eye. And yeah, it's got a good feel in the hand though. For a putting grip, it's good. Throw like a little fan grip. This one's 172 grams. I liked it quite a bit for approaching. It's a great straight flying point and shoot approach disc. It doesn't have a lot of glide to it, and that kind of harmed it for putting. For putting, for me, I had a little bit of trouble dialing it in. I was either getting it to ride too far to the right, even though I'm holding this in my left hand, but I was getting it to ride out a little bit too far and didn't have any real fade or hook up to it whatsoever. So we were either missing right or I was hitting the front of the tray a lot myself. Because even though it's kind of understable and straight flying, it doesn't have a ton of glide, so it was kind of falling out a little bit early for me a few times. So overall, not super stoked about it as a putter, but as an approach disc, straight flying, straight to understable flying, driving putter, it worked out totally fine, and decent disc. That's just me personally. Other folks were enjoying it as a putter, but a lot of the people that I played with didn't seem to like it too much. The more experienced players weren't really digging it so much. So that's my impressions on it based on the folks I interacted with today on my 2 different cards. Mid-range. This one's in Proton plastic. It is the Matrix. 177 grams. They said in the kind of like literature and the promotional stuff that this is going to be the most overstable mid-range to date from MVP. I don't think it's much more stable than a Tensor, but it definitely flies pretty far. I think a lot of folks were slightly disappointed that it wasn't more overstable. People were looking for a super meat hook, Justice, drone, gator type mid-range, and it's definitely not that. You can throw it pretty straight, but it has a strong fade to it, and it's a good disc. So let's take a look at the rim profile on it. Very flat top. Kind of reminds me of like a cross between an Axis and a Tensor in feel, because it's got that really flat top, and the rim profile is a little bit more reminiscent of more traditional mid-ranges and stuff. But this one's got a good feel in the hand. I like the Proton plastic. Proton mid-ranges are great. That's kind of what I prefer in terms of MVP stuff. But yeah, you can see the rim profile there. 177 grams on this one. I think I might have told you already. But yeah, I like this disc. This is probably my favorite one overall out of the players pack. I think it's the most useful to the most amount of players, because players with big arms were just throwing this thing off the tee because the driver is super unstable, which we'll get to that in a second. So it seemed like most of the big arm players were just throwing this thing off the tee and getting nice distance throws out of it. Considering I threw it a couple times, it worked nicely. I can throw it about as hard as I want to, and it's not going to flip over on me. It'll just stand up, hold it for a while, and then finish in left. So great disc, great hyzer approach disc, like high hyzer mid-range approaches. Works nice. So yeah, I think this will be probably the most popular of the three going forward beyond the circuit. Matrix, solid mid-range. Definitely not as overstable as I expected. And I'm getting the impression that a lot of folks were kind of disappointed by the stability. They were looking for something really stable, and it's just a nice, like, kind of workhorse overstable disc. So, and this one is the Signal. Let's take a look at this one. 173 grams on this one. Take a look at the rim profile on here. Not a huge fan of blue. This color's a little dark. I should have probably tried to get the TD to give me some different colors. He just basically handed me a pack. I kind of expected to look through and pick out, but he just had packs laid out and he just kind of handed it to me, and I just went with it. Not a huge deal. But there's your look at the rim profile. Just make sure my ink's still on this one. I don't want to show that to you. Very comfortable feel in the hand. Pretty small rim, as you can see. It's not a very fast driver. 173 grams for this particular one. Neutron plastic, feels great. These kind of newer run Neutron blends have a great grip and feel to them. Very nice. All that's good. This disc is extremely understable, and it's basically almost impossible to throw a hyzer with it unless you take a lot of energy off of it. So it was a little bit tricky to dial in, for sure. I definitely had it ride out much more than I wanted to, or accidentally flipped it a couple of times, and that was still throwing it on hyzer. If you're a total beginner, somebody with a low power arm, this could be a good straight flying disc for you to try out. But for me and my arm, it's very unstable. Most of the more experienced players couldn't really do much with this thing other than big turnovers. And for me, the couple times I tried to get distance out of it, I put it down on a roller. I'm keeping this thing though because it rolls really nice. It's a very nice, easy roller disc that you can get down. It'll stand up quick and it'll hold that roll for quite a long time. So I was really impressed with it as a roller. That's what I'm going to use it as. But I think, probably the more amateur type players were getting good lines out of this thing. But most of the more advanced big arm players were either throwing big turnovers that they were probably starting on a hyzer and letting flip over, or I was throwing it for rollers for distance. But still a nice disc, finesse disc, something that you can throw very straight with almost no effort, but you got to give it some hyzer. If you throw it flat, it's going to flip on you. But also a great sharp turnover disc. I got a nice birdie park job with it on a sharp turnover Anheuser type throw, which I barely gave it a touch Anheuser and threw it up high, and it flipped and held it really nicely. So this one could end up in the bag actually, just because I really like roller, a really flippy disc for my rollers and turnovers, just because I don't feel too super comfortable releasing on Anheuser. So this one has that nice natural turn that I can throw it mostly flat or even on hyzer, and it'll still turn over for me. So that's my little review of the 3 discs from the 2016 MVP Circuit Players Pack. Thanks for watching. I'll check you guys later. Cheers.